Hello, welcome back to another video. It's been a while, there's been a bit of a hiatus, but I'm back and I've got a load of videos coming up that I think that you'll like. First of all, I thought I'd kick it off with a Q&A just because I've had so many questions on my previous videos and I feel really bad because I just haven't been able to respond. Having ADHD and working full time, but I just want you to know that I really appreciate your comments. I appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos and thank you so much for sticking around basically. I owe it to you to do you a video with the most commonly asked questions and I'm going to answer them. Question number one, how much money do you need to move to Dubai? How much money you need really depends on who's actually moving to Dubai. Is it just you or is it your partner or your spouse? Is it your family? Do you have 3 kids? Do you have 1 child? Because everybody needs an individual visa. Everybody needs medical insurance and they all cost quite a lot. For one individual person, for a visa, in our circumstances, we actually paid for one person, we paid 4,000 dirhams for a visa. For medical insurance, we paid 7,000 dirhams. Then we also paid for a car, which was 1 month up front as the deposit for the car, and then another month to pay for the car that month. So that was around 1,400 times 2, so 2,800 just for the car. There's also additional expenses, food shopping, not knowing where to shop, that kind of thing. Also, those are just like the main bulk of the expenses, but there's also a lot of things in between. Paying for accommodation, somewhere to stay is a lot of money up front. If you need a car rental, a lot of money up front. If you're relocating and you're bringing your things from overseas, you're also going to need to wait for that to arrive, which can take a couple of months. So in the meantime, you may need to purchase a bed, you may need to purchase a TV, essential things that, or maybe the TV is not essential for some, but you're going to need to purchase the non-negotiable necessities that everyone needs, right? And it does add up in costs. When we moved, we didn't have a shipping container coming with all of our furniture and things that we were waiting for. We just moved with our suitcases. So there was a lot more up front that we needed to pay for necessities that we just didn't have then. Because we were £10,000 out of pocket when we first moved, I would recommend anybody moving doesn't come with less. Even if you're on your own, I think you have more of a risk. If it were me moving on my own, I'd want the security of having more money. So I would even bring £10,000 if it's possible before you move out here by yourself. Especially if you decide to move out here without a job in the hopes of finding one, definitely bring more money if possible. What you have being brought, from wherever you live, is it coming over to Dubai? Is it being shipped out, or do you have to buy it here? If you're having it shipped out, there's also a cost for that, right? Which can also be quite expensive for a large shipping container. So it really depends on you or the size of your family, depends on the costs. If you like a video on costs and how much it would be upfront for one person or a family, I can break it all down for you. Please like this video and I'll know that you want a video on costs. So the second question is, what healthcare is on offer in Dubai? If you have an employer before you move, your employer is legally obligated to provide you with medical insurance. I would always ask for a copy or a printout of the medical insurance in a PDF format, however they want to send it, so you can read through it in advance and see what's actually covered. This was really helpful for us when we moved. My husband has ulcerative colitis, which I've spoken about in a previous video, so we needed to see a breakdown of exactly everything that was covered to make sure that we weren't putting ourselves in a dangerous situation or a financially dangerous situation when we actually move to Dubai. If you don't have an employer during this time, I'd recommend getting quotes online for your own private medical insurance. If you're based in the UK, you might not find what you're looking for without a VPN. With medical insurance, it varies. So the more you pay for insurance, normally the higher package you have, which means better coverage, is more convenient. With certain insurances, you might not have the level of care you expect. So you need to make sure that you're covered in certain hospitals around Dubai, specifically located to areas you're thinking of living in. Just because in a medical emergency, you don't want your hospital to be 45 minutes away from where you're currently living. That's a life or death situation in some circumstances. With our current insurance, there is a 20% co-payment on outpatient appointments for the hospital that we choose. but we really trust and like this hospital. Every time we go for a doctor's appointment, we know that we're going to pay 20% when it's outpatients. If it's any longer than a certain amount of time, let's say for my husband's treatments, he has a day treatment where he's in all day, that's covered fully by the insurance. Any medical emergencies are also fully covered, but for outpatients appointments, like you would see a GP, like you would see a consultant, whether it's physio, whether you're seeing a OBGYN, whether you're seeing, I don't know, a gastroenterologist, they would all be payment by insurance, but then 20% you would pay. And also you would do the same on any prescriptions that you have from outpatients. You would then pay 20% as well. Now that's just our insurance, but every insurance looks different. So you'd need to understand how that would work. And I would even recommend calling up the insurance company and requesting some advice basically from them. One thing I will say with healthcare in Dubai is that you might not need every single procedure, every prescription that's offered to you. I'm used to public sector NHS where they're looking to save money, whereas in the private sector, they're also looking for you to spend money. So just be careful with which doctor you go to see. Ask them when they prescribe you certain medicines, is it necessary or is it just a nice add-on? If it's a nice add-on, I wouldn't bother unless you really want it. A lot of the time, doctors, consultants, hospitals know you go through insurance and expect the insurance to pay fully. So they may suggest procedures or medicines that are not absolutely necessary. Comparing private healthcare to public healthcare is a no-brainer, so I don't feel like I need to go in detail as to why it's better. I have done in a previous video. Overall, I would say that healthcare is amazing, but I would just do your research and understand how things work for you. So if you're ever in an emergency situation or you're ever caught in a position where you haven't got an approval for insurance, that you know the process and you know what to do. So just look into that a lot more and do your research. So the next question, is Dubai family friendly? You probably already know Dubai is considered a very safe place to live, but it is also super family friendly. There are families and kids literally everywhere. Dubai does a fantastic job of tailoring life around children and makes it very easy to take your children anywhere. When you take them to restaurants, beaches, pools, any kind of obviously places where you're allowed to take kids as well, but even the things considered for adults are also made kid friendly and a lot easier. Any restaurants you go to, they always have colouring papers, they often have play centres. When you go to some of the supermarkets, they have play centres inside the supermarket so you can do your shopping while your child plays, and it's also safe enough to leave them, not that I would, but it's also safe enough to just leave them play in the play centre in the middle of the supermarket while you walk around. They have brunches that are themed so kids can enjoy, where they've got a child entertainer, you know, making balloons and singing songs. They have like, the best one we went to was like an Aladdin themed brunch, but then you've got loads of adults there who maybe even don't have kids. The food is absolutely amazing. There's drinks that are absolutely amazing, so the adults can enjoy whilst the kids are also enjoying, so it just makes everyone happy. It's not just kid focused, it's like a really nice balance, and they do that really, really well. Anything you can think of that's fun to do with kids exists here. There are excellent schools, excellent facilities, excellent amenities. The amount of things you can do is endless. Like, there are so many things to do, especially in the winter months when it's a little bit cooler. There are too many outdoor things to even mention. I'm going to do a video soon on things to do with kids that we like to do, or our favorite things we like to do in the summer and in the winter. So Dubai is actually really child friendly, and it makes life as a parent so much easier. Next question is, do you have to pay UK tax as a British person living in Dubai? You only need to pay UK tax if the money you are making is from UK soil. So if you have a business in the UK but you live in Dubai, you will have to pay UK tax. Next question, someone asked, why do you need travel insurance if you're traveling one way? Well, I feel like it goes without saying, but if you land in Dubai without travel insurance and you don't have residency status, so you're not entitled to medical insurance, you have no protection whatsoever. So if you get into a crash, if you fall and break your leg, you are going to have to go get medical treatment, and you'll have to pay out of pocket for that medical treatment. Maybe even if your luggage arrives or your luggage gets lost and everything you had, all your belongings were in one suitcase because you're moving country, you'll never see that suitcase again and you'll never be compensated for it. So I just feel like with common sense, you need to have travel insurance. Even if you're flying one way, just make sure it is one-way travel insurance, because if it's two-way travel insurance and they expect you to be landing back in the UK, you could be paying for insurance that's completely void anyway. And you won't get money back for it because it's in their T's and C's and you must have a return flight and you'll be buggered, excuse my French. All right, next one. What's it like living in Dubai in summer months? Hot. It's really, really hot, and it isn't just warm, it's humid. It's the humidity that's the problem. It's just wet in general. You have to be very careful with your home wherever you're living, because we've just experienced now a big humidity problem. So have a dehumidifier. If you're shipping furniture out from the UK, then buy one in the UK, dehumidifier, and then bring it over to Dubai. It'd be a lot cheaper. Or just buy one here. What happened for us is the very hot air outside meeting with the AC just caused a lot of condensation, and because it's so warm it just breeds mold. So it's such a big problem that loads of people face in their apartments and villas. So I would say a dehumidifier is like a must. We don't go outside much in the day to avoid the heat. The plus side is that most people have gone back to the UK or back to home, wherever they were originally from, or they're just holidaying. They're getting out of the UAE for quite some time just to escape the heat. It means the traffic is like literally a bare minimum. So there's hardly anybody on the roads. The schools are out, so people are not driving and dropping their kids off. So that's a positive in the summer, especially for me, who's driving to work and who's still working in the summer. So yeah, not much traffic on the roads. That's a benefit. There are lots of things to do in the summer indoors, so don't panic. There's lots for you to do with your kids as well if you have kids. But the problem I found that it does cost money. There's very few things you can do indoors that's really cost effective, or it doesn't cost anything at all. We spend a lot of time in the malls, if we're being honest with you. Even just walking around the malls, if we want to get a coffee, we'll walk around the malls. There are quite a few free things to do. Lots of places do have summer deals, especially outdoor places. So if you want to do Dubai parks and resorts, they are doing a deal where you pay for one day and then the rest of the summer it's free. Fantastic deal, but it's so hot, so not many people do it. What we've tried to do is all year save a bit of money aside, because we know in the summer months we are going to be spending that little bit extra on more soft plays, more activities that are indoor. You've got Ski Dubai indoor, you've got the cinema, you've got play centres. There's just loads of things to do. There's even IMG World of Adventure that is all indoors. So if you have older kids, it's perfect. There's Kidzania. There's tons of things to do with kids. Even if you're an adult, there's lots of things to do indoors. There's lots of activities around. You can do painting. There's loads of things. It's a great time of year to do hobbies that are indoors. Hobbies that are outdoors, probably going to do those in the morning or the evenings where it's a lot cooler. If you're someone that struggles with allergies with AC, if you've ever been abroad and your eyes start itching or you're sneezing or you have issues with your throat, probably what's going to happen, especially if you move over in the summer where you're literally under the AC all the time, you're probably going to get allergies flaring up. So just bear that in mind. A lot of people that have moved over recently that I know and have spoken to have had issues with this, and even sometimes I have issues with it as well. So just be careful with that and bring any antihistamines or plan to get some when you actually arrive. Another popular question: are there any opportunities to find work when you arrive in Dubai? There are lots of opportunities to find work when you arrive, and the main reason for that is networking. Most people have got jobs in Dubai through networking. I think it's really important that you build up your network. You can try and do this in advance to increase your chances of getting a job. You need to increase your LinkedIn. Absolutely, everybody literally uses LinkedIn. It is the main place to find a job, so definitely get on LinkedIn before you arrive. Since I've been in Dubai, I've had 3 jobs. The first job was the job I applied for, and every job thereafter was through networking. Networking has led me to more opportunity and and progression as well. I would definitely say that arriving in Dubai is absolutely beneficial because you get a chance to network and you do get a chance for much more opportunities than if you're overseas. However, I think there's a huge risk factor in arriving in Dubai and then trying to find a job. So if you are going to do that, please make sure that you're financially in a position where you're able to support yourself for a couple of months in case you cannot find a job. So someone asked me the question, who's looking after your daughter whilst you both work? Ella's in nursery, so our daughter goes to nursery in the same school as my honey bunny works in. Ella's in the same school as my husband works in, so it's just really easy for us. It was such a natural progression. The idea was only to put her in for a couple of hours. I wasn't even going to work. I was going to do something part-time potentially, and it's just completely changed. And I suppose it goes back to the last question on opportunity when you arrive. Like, I just feel like I had the experience of that. She's actually, I'm saying nursery, but she's actually moving up to school now. Oh my God, it's making me emotional. I know it would still be classed as nursery in the UK, but she's technically been in nursery for the last 2 years. So she's now in foundation stage 1 class, which is considered like an actual class. So she started school fully. I know many families do have nannies to take care of their children whilst they work. No judgment to any families that do want to employ a nanny or have employed a nanny. It just wasn't the right thing for us. It's not something that we would like to do. Next question. How did we get our jobs in Dubai? Well, my husband Reese, he has friends or ex-colleagues who are living out here. They are teachers as well, and we saw the lifestyle they were living. Like, we were watching them on Instagram. We were just super jealous. And then we got to understand the life a little bit more. We did a lot of research, and then we made the decision, okay, like, this is for us, we want to move. So he applied for a few jobs, got a couple of interviews, and then he got offered a job. We took it, and then here we are. I didn't have a job when I first moved out. I found my job through networking, as I've mentioned. I think without Reese's job, I don't think we would have moved to Dubai. This was in the making of like 2 years though. He started applying around the time that's good for teachers to apply. It was really responsive. We got a job before we knew it, but we weren't ready to move for quite some time. So it was like from the idea to actually move in took us 2 years to plan in advance. Of course, we were saving up money as well. I think it's a lot to pick up your life and move. I think when we were thinking about it, I was pregnant, so Ella wasn't even born then, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, here we are. So speaking of pregnancy then, the next question is, would you have any more kids in Dubai? Oh, and how does maternity work? So yeah, definitely having a child is on the cards. We just don't know when. I don't think it fits in with our timeline and where we are in life at the moment, but it'll definitely happen. I think we're gonna stay out here for the next couple of years anyway. So I think when we're ready, I guess we'll go for it. I don't know if this is too much information. That's the cat trying to get in. Tilly. Oh, we're back. So I would definitely have a baby in Dubai just because I didn't have a great experience in the UK. I know loads of women do in different hospitals and they have fantastic births. I didn't have that experience. I had quite, I wouldn't say like traumatic, but it didn't go as I thought it was. I think the saving grace for me was Ella. Just having her after all of that kind of just made everything else melt away almost. I think I dealt with it quite well. If I were to choose between having a baby in the UK or Dubai, I would choose Dubai. I know if I was pregnant now, I'd be really anxious about it. So I'd rather have a baby in Dubai where I'd feel a little bit more comfortable. The experience you get would be totally different. I've met some women who've had babies out here and their experience, of course, like issues around birth can happen wherever you are, in public sector, healthcare or private sector. It's not that for me. It's just the little bit more care that you get. When the money isn't the deciding factor on some of the procedures you have done, I feel like I'd have more peace of mind here and they're more likely to catch problems that arise, etc. because there's more eyes on you, if that makes any sense. But I don't know that for sure. Again, just my opinion. I'd be very careful in checking your medical insurance when it comes to maternity care that you are covered and how much you're covered for. For example, if you give birth, your baby's covered under the medical insurance for a certain period of time until they're a certain age, but also If they go into the NICU or the NICU, they might not be covered for a certain amount expense-wise. So you have to be careful and just make sure you have the best package that you can. If you are planning on ever having a baby in Dubai, I would just recommend you plan it as much as you can. I know that IVF is really expensive out here, and I don't think insurance covers these kind of procedures. I know someone recently who was getting IVF and they've paid 60,000. That was just for the first round, and they do get some of that back if it doesn't work, etc. But I know it's expensive. For maternity leave, it's actually by the labour law 45 days paid. So after 45 days, the company doesn't have to pay you full, doesn't have to pay you anything really. So a lot of women do actually return to work after 45 days, which is literally just over a month. Like, I'm not saying anything here, but I will not be taking 45 days. I know that's definitely a privilege. This is why we're kind of planning in advance to have a baby, and why it'll be further down the future is so that we can have enough income to sustain us for a year of unpaid work, for a year of unpaid leave, basically. If you're curious about living or moving to Dubai, I have loads of other videos on my channel. I will link some here. You can click on those. If you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll do another Q&A in future. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Shukran.